Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Nat again. I've got this card today that we're going to have a play with some gilding flakes and a relatively new stamp set to me. This is the old plexi glue, which is now discontinued, but you can get the same company, Jones Tones. They have a foil glue, which will do exactly the same thing. This card is for Leslie from Little Bits in Keysborough. You can contact her by clicking on the link that's going to be down below. Also, there'll be a link over to my blog and you can see some other photos. So we're going to use this Darkroom door stamp. So I'm using the Timber Brown Stays On ink. It's quite a dark ink. So what I'm going to do is use the scrap piece of paper that you saw before and stamp off one, and then go through and stamp it again. So we're going to do a little bit of second generation stamping. I'm not terribly stressed about the getting a proper image or anything else. We're just going to add a little bit here and there for the rest. And basically out of this one piece of cardstock, I'm actually going to let you in a bit of a secret. We're going to actually make two, but they're going to be basically the same. So we've got this plexi glue now. So we're just going to go through the outlines and use the plexi glue to outline it. It doesn't take very long to do this. And the Jones Tones foil glue, as I said, does exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, this is now discontinued, but I've had this plexi glue for a long, long time. If anyone knows for Little Bits in Keysborough, that's what we do. We used to always use the glitter glue for. That's all done. It doesn't dry fully. It dries very tacky. Okay, so we've left that to dry, and I literally come back to it, I think, the next day. We're going to stamp a little bit of bees, and at this point I wasn't too sure what I really wanted to do, but we're going to add a couple of bees on there. So that stamp set is the Darkroom Door Buzzing Bees. This time we're going to stamp that off with some, I'm just cleaning the stamp off because I stamped it with Stays On, and I should have stamped it with the Rich Cocoa Memento ink. So this is all tacky now. You can see it's sticking to my hands. I've got some Cosmic Shimmer Autumn Leaves Gilding Flakes. Do not breathe hard, do not sneeze, do not cough. These babies will go everywhere. So we're going to apply those down to the tackiness. Now, I have not used too much of gilding flakes. I have it, but I haven't used too much. I believe that I'm going to use this Nouveau stencil brush here and just keep going and filling in some bits and pieces of where the gilding flakes haven't attached themselves. I have been told that you can use these flakes again. I heard that very, very recently, but I don't. And that might be wasteful for me, but I don't. I find that it is really, really fine, and you have so many gilding flakes that I'm not going to stress about it. You want to give this a pretty good firm scrub with the brush. This is a Nouveau blending brush that I've had for quite a while, but any stiff brush will do. And so that leaves all the gilding flakes stuck to the plexi glue or the foil glue that you're going to use. And it looks very, very clear. So we've cleaned all that off. We're going to cut that in half as I'm indicating there. We're going to use a couple of Copic markers, the Y38 and YR31. These are the ones that I tend to like with my bees when I colour bees. I'm not stressing about this at all. We're just the way these bees have been drawn, you just put the colour down. They've already got the shading down. Here we go, cut that up. I think we're going to trim that. I'm going to trim that down. We've just cut that panel in half. That's all I've done. I'm now decided that I wanted to go around the edge and have the autumn leaves, sort of like the honey sort of tone to it, dripping down the side. So we're going to go back through, and I'm doing this very messy. Okay, it's got drips coming up. It's got, like, you've not coloured it in, but you've gone around the edges and you've just whacked it all on. That's the look that I'm going for. And I'm actually going to do that for both pieces, but you won't see the other one, I don't think. Okay, so we've got a piece of craft cardstock here. This is just stuff from my stash. I couldn't tell you exactly who it's from. And what I'm going to do is trim down another piece to form my layer. I don't have all the measurements because you can see here that I just hold it there and I trim it down. There's no rhyme or reason. I made this card quite a while ago and I wasn't really paying too much attention to that. So we've got our Versamark and the same honeycomb stamp, and we're just doing this randomly through the back of the card base, I should say, which is going to leave what a Versamark is designed for, apart from the embossing, to leave a watermark. But it's a sticky watermark. That's why we use it for embossing. Anywho, just getting my placements, just making sure I've got it where I want it put down. And here we go. So our thing is a bit off, a bit tacky. As I said, I did make this quite a while ago, so before I got the bit more of a hang of videoing. So I'm a little bit high, but I will figure it out sooner or later. Again, we're going to come in with our Nuvo brush very shortly and give that a good scrub because we just want it to be stuck to the plexi glue rather than anywhere else. So as I said, we can get the Jones Tones foil glue, as it does basically the same sort of thing. It's dries tacky. It gives you that little time to dry it. I don't think mine was quite dry as it should have been, but anywho, doesn't matter. It does not matter. What else can I tell you? Nuvo blending, the rich cocoa. It's a pretty straightforward little card. We've also stamped out the sentiment in the rich cocoa ink, and I'm going to make that into a little banner. Glue that down. I think I forgot to zoom out, so I do apologize for that. As I said, this was when I was still working my stuff out. Just trying to figure out where my bees are going to be in the placement for everything. So we've got our 3 bees there. And there's our sentiment. So there's lots of the bees, as I said, the bees are really easy to colour. They're really super and sweet. I think we're looking at another sentiment here to try and figure out whether that will fit better. There we go. We finally remembered to zoom out. Stamp that onto another piece of the craft cardstock because I think the cream was just not doing it for me. So I know people generally like to have a bit of measurements and down, but this was, as I said, it was done quite a while ago. So, but do what you want to do. Do it the way you want to do it. So I'm going to fishtail the end of this, or banner the end of this. I always knew it as a fishtail. I'm going to glue that down. What I'm going to do with my sentiment is I'm going to raise it up on a bit of foam dots, but I'm also going to put a bit of glue on it because I wasn't really too sure about how this was going to go with the foil. So I thought, stuff it, I'll rather be safe than sorry. So we're going to put that down with the glue, as with the bees as well, of course, obviously. So this is a card for Leslie from Little Bits. Her information will be linked down below. A blog post will be linked down below. And you can contact her by email, or if you're here in Melbourne or in Australia, give her a call and she can easily get you hooked up with some of these products that I've used today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you like my card. I really, really like these glittering flakes. So take care. See you later.